The camera opens on a sun-drenched, dusty attic, a single beam of light illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. In a quiet suburban home in Des Moines, Iowa, an old woman named Eleanor sits by a window, her gaze fixed on a worn photograph. The image, faded and sepia-toned, shows a young man with a confident smile, his eyes holding the light of a future he would never see. Her hands, gnarled with age, clutch a small velvet box. The box is an empty vessel, but the weight of its contents and the 8-decade absence presses down on her. The silence in the room is heavy, broken only by the soft, rhythmic ticking of a grandfather clock, each tick a reminder of a moment lost in time. The injustice is palpable. The man in the photograph, Staff Sergeant Tommy Jensen, was more than just a picture. He was a whisper in the family's history, a chapter left unfinished. He was a hero in a war fought on foreign soil, a young man who left a small town to confront a global evil. But when he returned, he was a ghost, a name etched on a memorial, his story buried under the weight of time and a bureaucratic mistake. The medals that should have adorned his chest were never awarded, his sacrifice never fully acknowledged. His family mourned him not just for his loss, but for the unforgivable silence that followed. We hear the rustle of old letters, the crackle of forgotten newspaper clippings. We smell the musty scent of a past sealed away in trunks. Eleanor, her face a roadmap of a life lived, touches the photograph with a tenderness that speaks of both love and profound sorrow. Her eyes are distant, filled with the memory of a boy who was her big brother, her protector. She recalls the last time she saw him standing on the train platform, a hand on his duffel bag, a faint smile on his lips. His words echoed in her memory. "Don't you worry, Elle, I'll be back before you know it." He never came back in the way they expected. The central mystery is this: what happened to his commendations? Why was a hero's valor allowed to fade into obscurity for 80 years? A powerful question lingers in the air. How can a nation forget its heroes? The camera zooms in on Eleanor's hands as they tremble, not just with age, but with a deep-seated grief and a quiet fury. The velvet box in her lap is a symbol of a promise unfulfilled, a legacy left hanging. She reaches for a small leather-bound journal, its pages brittle with time. The pages are filled with Tommy's neat handwriting, his final thoughts, his hopes, his fears. A folded piece of paper slips out from between the pages, a tattered, official-looking document. It's a military report, its details almost illegible. But one word stands out, a single word that changes everything. The first episode opens with the weight of the document in Eleanor's hands. The paper is a puzzle, and her journey to decipher it begins. We see close-ups of her frail fingers tracing the faded ink, her magnifying glass hovering over the text. A young, determined historian, David, is introduced, a man obsessed with forgotten stories. Eleanor's call to him is a plea, a last-ditch effort to give her brother the honor he deserved. Their initial conversation is strained but powerful, a dance of hope and skepticism. David sees the story as a compelling historical case. Eleanor sees it as a moral imperative. We get a glimpse into Tommy's past through a short flashback, a young man in his uniform, saying goodbye to his family on a train platform. The sound of the steam whistle is a piercing lament. The suspense builds as David begins his research. He hits dead ends, bureaucratic walls, and archived records that seem to have no connection to Staff Sergeant Jensen. He realizes this isn't just a mistake. It's a deliberate omission, a story buried for a reason. David's research leads him to a retired army major, now a recluse living in a quiet mountain cabin. The major, who served with Tommy, initially refuses to speak, haunted by his own past. Through a series of tense emotional conversations, we learn about the fateful day of Tommy's final mission. The major's voice is a low rasp, burdened with decades of silence. He recalls the intense action, the chaos, and a critical moment of bravery by Tommy that saved his entire unit. We see a close-up of a tarnished dog tag, a simple metal object that carries the weight of a complex story. The major finally reveals the core of the secret. There was a second, undocumented mission, a clandestine operation that Tommy volunteered for. This operation was so secret, so critical, that all records of it were classified and sealed. He explains how this classified mission created a bureaucratic mess, burying the very commendations Tommy had already earned. The injustice of it all is a heavy blow, cliffhanger, and just when they thought the truth was out, a detail no one expected came to light. The unexpected detail is a cryptic note found in the Major's files, a note from a high-ranking official, suggesting that Tommy's heroism was a double-edged sword. It saved his unit but inadvertently exposed a weak point in the Allied forces' strategic planning. This exposure led to a critical failure in a different theater of the war. To cover up this failure and the officials' blunder, Tommy's full report was reclassified, his commendations indefinitely postponed. The true enemy wasn't the war, but the bureaucracy that protected its own at the cost of a hero's honor. We see a flashback to the war room, a map of Europe with pins and strings. A nervous, ambitious official paces the floor, looking at the unfolding disaster. The dialogue is tense, whispered. "It's all on us." Someone says, "But what about Jensen?" "Jensen's an official loss." Another responds, "And his report is sealed, for the good of the army." The injustice is no longer a mistake, it's a deliberate act of political sacrifice. The narrative shifts to the present, focusing on David's fight to get the records declassified. He faces immense pressure and resistance. A modern-day military official, a direct descendant of the one who ordered the cover-up, is introduced. This official attempts to block David's efforts, not out of malice, but to protect his family's legacy. This conflict creates a powerful dramatic tension. The dialogue is sharp, legalistic, a battle of wills. We get quick, powerful visual cuts. A hand stamping rejected on a document, a gavel hitting a table in a quiet courtroom, and a close-up of Eleanor's face, her hope starting to wane. The sound of a pen scratching on paper is amplified, symbolizing the bureaucracy that has been the true villain all along. But David finds a loophole, a new law that allows for the review of historical military honors under specific, unfulfilled criteria. The final piece of the puzzle is an old man living in a nursing home, a former clerk who worked in the records department during the war. He's suffering from dementia, his memories are jumbled, but when David mentions Staff Sergeant Jensen's name, something clicks. The old man, once a cog in a great machine, holds the final, crucial memory. He remembers seeing the original commendations, complete with the commanding officer's signature, before the records were sealed away. He even remembers a detail no one else would: a small, personal note left on the file by the CO, apologizing for the terrible injustice. The scene is emotional and intense. We see the old man's eyes clear for a moment, the memory shining through the fog of his mind. A slow, dramatic piece of music plays. A close-up on the old man's hands as they try to describe the note, the words on the tip of his tongue. He finally manages to describe it. He said, "Forgive me, son." The phrase links the past to the present, a whispered confession from beyond the grave, proving the truth of Tommy's sacrifice. The climax is a powerful, emotional hearing, with the old man's testimony and the now declassified documents. The case is undeniable. The panel approves the posthumous award of the Silver Star and the Purple Heart to Staff Sergeant Tommy Jensen. The scene cuts to Eleanor, her face a mix of tears and a profound, peaceful relief. The empty velvet box is no longer a symbol of absence, but a promise about to be fulfilled. The final ceremony is held in a small park in Des Moines, the same park where Tommy used to play as a child. An honor guard stands at attention. A decorated general, a man who has heard countless stories of valor, stands before Eleanor, a new medal on a fresh ribbon in his hand. He pins the medal on her lapel, and a tear streaks down her face. The camera holds on the reflection of the medal, the stars and stripes shimmering. The impact is real and human. The community, which had known Tommy only as a faded name on a monument, now understands his true sacrifice. His legacy shines brighter than ever, not as a casualty, but as a hero whose valor was finally recognized. A new bronze plaque is unveiled, detailing his acts of bravery. Children gather around it, their eyes wide with wonder. The memory of Tommy Jensen is no longer a whispered secret. It's a story told aloud, a lesson in integrity, perseverance, and sacrifice. The last scene is of Eleanor standing by the plaque, her hand on her chest, a single tear falling on the medal. She looks up at the sky, as if talking to her brother. The final moments are silent, just the sound of a soft breeze rustling the leaves. The story of a forgotten hero is a testament to the enduring power of truth. His memory, once a whisper, is now a beacon, reminding us that true honor is never lost, only sometimes waiting to be found. If this story moved you, there are others on our channel that deserve to be remembered. Click the next video to uncover more hidden stories and help bring these forgotten heroes back to light. And don't forget to subscribe.